All right. Harold, let me start with you. And Elizabeth Warren suggesting that you can only push people so far. How does that sit for Democrats?
Well, I don't think it's, I don't view it as a Democrat comment. First of all, it's good to be with you.
Oh, yes, it's good to have you back around the table.
It is, and good to see Joy. I separate the two. So first off, there is no place or space in a civilized society for people to work out political or policy, or for that matter, a commercial difference, which we still don't know everything about this suspect and what might have motivated or have driven him to do what he did. Some think there might have been some bill that he couldn't pay. Whatever the case, commercial, political, policy, there's no place or space for violence. And I thought Governor Josh Shapiro said it best. It is sickening to listen to people who seem to be so divorced in the fact that this was a human being who had kids, who had a wife, who is a son, as a father, who was killed. And people are making light of it. I don't have no problem making, we joke around this table a lot, but there's spaces where you don't joke and you're not light about things, and that's one of them. Separate that from what Elizabeth Warren said. I think two conversations can happen at once, even if one is a very, very sad and tragic one. The idea and the notion and the reality of what people are paying for things, we talk a lot about it around the table, not in the context of people being shot or people being killed. But there's no doubt that drug costs and health costs are high for people. So I think you can have the two conversations. I'm glad she clarified. I think she clarified what she said, because one could certainly maybe draw some sort of comparison or suggest that maybe she was being sympathetic to people who might want to engage in violence. I don't think she was that. I don't agree with her politics. I've said things about her to disagree with her. So I give her the benefit of the doubt there. But what I don't give the benefit of the doubt on, anyone who is joking about being sympathetic to a guy who killed a guy 4 blocks from here because they spotted he was going to a conference. I think we learned something today that the kid said he was going to count the beans there, so we might as well get him there. There's no sympathy for anybody in that regard. We need to learn what happened, and he needs to be punished. The judge told me, I asked her and President Trump to get to getting the death penalty here in New York. Maybe she hadn't gotten it done yet. But I hope that if he's prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law here in New York, I hope whatever the fullest penalty we can give him, a judge, that's what we give him, because he deserves it. He's earned it.
It won't happen. The Democrats are in charge in New York.
Well, let me just say, when you were there, you were Republican. You didn't get it done either.
No, no, you're wrong.
Okay, so Republicans the Democrats reversed it?
No. The Republicans got it done. Okay, and then the Supreme Court reversed it. Gotta be careful.
That's right. Why don't you continue, Judge? And maybe if you want to comment on the law and the extradition, or
okay, I want to comment on a couple of things. Number one, when I was a judge and I would be sentencing someone to state's prison, the girlfriends would come in, knowing I'm giving the guy 25 years to life, and I'd marry them right after the sentencing so that they could, be together, whatever, for conjugal visits. I don't know what it is. Women love bad boys. They always have. They want to nurture them. They want to be able to, be with them. I think anyone who is enamored with this guy has a screw loose in her head. That's number one. Number two, as the evidence adds up, and it appears that this man is the killer, and, once he's extradited to New York, he'll be indicted. When someone says violence is wrong, but, I want you to think of the word but. Whenever anybody says but, that means they really are not serious about what they said before the word but. And so you can only push people so far. Nobody pushed anybody so far. This is nothing that you can attribute to an individual who was a corporate executive. And when we start blaming people and calling them names and making them deserving of death, an imminent death sentence, it shows that we are degrading as a society. Now, people told us to watch our language. We couldn't say illegal alien, although it's still in all the federal statutes. We had to say the pronouns. But these people want to say, you know what, this kid is a good kid. I love his abs. It's, it's kind of, he killed someone, but you kind of get it, I want to know where are the community notes, where are the strikes and the red flags, okay, on people who are communicating on social media. And that's all.
It's a good point. I think that the idea that, Joey, he came from a pretty privileged background.
Yeah.
Brian Thompson did not. You know, he's the one who came from the working class background that worked. And by all accounts, he was actually trying to make some changes in the industry. Now, I also don't think that there's a lot of evidence. I don't think he had this health care. I don't know if he was denied a claim. There's still a lot of things that we don't know.
Yeah, I think there's two conversations happening at once, and it's really malpractice for these figures in the media to bring them together, even if stupid people on TikTok are. This is a deranged person who went after someone in the public eye because he could, and he killed him in the most cowardice way possible. Granted that this is the person that did it, and it looks like it is. And he should absolutely be made an example of. He should be put in prison for the rest of his life if the death penalty isn't there. He really should absolutely be made an example of, because we have this really crazy thing in this country called freedom and freedom of movement, and just about any celebrity or public figure is a vulnerable and weak target. That's just the truth of it. And for that reason alone, he should be made an example of. There's this other conversation that's come up from it where people, and I do think that Harold's right about this, and I don't know if it was your point exactly, but I guess the larger point is there's a big part of that Trump coalition, even, because you said it wasn't a Democrat issue. There's a big part of that RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard group of people, Bernie bros, that Trump brought in that are just as skeptical of big business as they are big government. And so I think there are people that watch this channel that are very angry and frustrated with insurance companies. And that's why it's indicative on us to point out, okay, that makes sense. You've got someone in office that can fix it. Going and doing this, that ain't it. That's not it in any way, shape, or form. And for those news organizations and media figures to make light of it in any way, it's absolutely reprehensible.
Last word to you, Jesse.
I just don't think the guy's that good looking.
I don't either. His eyebrows are horrible.
I took a poll of my staff, the females today, and they said he was average. But what's attractive about him is the vigilantism. And Janine touched on it. I touched on it. Women like the bad boy. Now, I don't know anything about women, so I had to call a few women to find out why, but they want to save the bad guy. Maybe Dana's dated guys like this. Maybe Peter's a bad guy. We don't know. But if you see damaged goods, women think that they can reform him and they can make him better. If only they could get their hands on him and he'll be all right. Now,
I am definitely not like that. I do not. No, you better take care of yourself. I want nothing to do with that.
All right, so Dana doesn't like the bad boys. More for you, Judge. So there's also another part of this, too, because women like the fact that the guy had a mission, that the guy stood for something. Because in this society, all these guys walking around, they don't care about anything. This guy stood for something in a social justice crusader kind of way. And for many women, that's attractive. And I don't understand it. I think that's pretty clear.
Wait,
come on, Jesse.
If that were true, I would say that most women would say Daniel Penny. In this case, in this scenario, if you're talking about being principled and standing up for someone, then Daniel Penny is the attractive one.
You don't think Daniel Penny's getting panties thrown at him every time he goes to the subway?
You better get to this.
I didn't know.
You don't think Daniel Penny
he's going on the subway?
The pick of the litter?
Jesse, I'm not sure you know what you're talking about. Let's start right there.
You started it, though. You said that women like the bad boys.
I know more about women than everybody at this table.
Let me tell you something. There are women who want to make bad boys into good boys.
Yes.
There's no question about it. But there's no group that's out there that is joined together saying, let's go after the insurance company. Are there? I haven't heard about them.
There's a female political faction.
Is there? Am I wrong about that?
It's on the left, Harold. I'm sorry, but we have to just address
Joey
it.
just talked about this being a bipartisan. They're Trump support. People just don't want to pay more. We should get to the thing here before somebody gets in trouble.
All right, I'll do fine. But I was actually having fun stringing him out there on the ledge. All right.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.